Hello, everybody. Sorry about the late start today. My name is Harlequin Murray, and you are on the Zoom for Team Winn.
Hang on, Harlequin, I muted you. 1 second. Muted everybody in an effort to make a quiet recording. Can you unmute yourself?
I did.
Okay, great.
Okay, everybody, let's try this again. My name is Harlequin Murray, and I am one of your team leaders here on Ellen's team. And I get the wonderful opportunity to go and introduce Ellen for those of you who have not met her before, or if you're new to the team. Just to let you know, Ellen, she's one of our senior team leaders. And she grew up here in the Atlanta, Georgia area on her family's farm in Dallas, Georgia. But after she left the farm, she spent over 25 years in the restaurant industry. The last 8.5 years of that were in the corporate world with Domino's Pizza in upper management as a training director and a senior operations director for the state of Georgia. In 1997, she left Domino's and started her own brand of restaurants, and she's been a business owner ever since then. She was introduced to network marketing in 2002, and over the years, she's built massive teams and helped tens of thousands of people along the way. When I met her about 17 years ago, she was the national training director for a network marketing company. And she was also a partner in a huge training center here in the Atlanta area. But Ellen she's currently an area director with DAC, and she's a 1-star executive in our residual pay plan with longevity. And if you're not familiar with that, go watch the training video on the compensation plan, because we get paid from 2 different places. But anyway, she has helped our team be one of the fastest growing and largest producing teams in David Allen Capital. So without further ado, let me introduce Miss Ellen Winn.
All right, we are live, finally. Hey, if you were having difficulty getting in tonight, I apologize. I had ended these pre-scheduled Zooms that I had on my calendar. So when I went to start our normal Zoom and the Zoom link that I always have forwarded from the calendar, it wasn't there because there wasn't one scheduled for this week. So at the last minute, I had to get that rolling and then change the redirect link that you guys log in through. So again, sorry for the late delay, because I made such a big deal about this being an important Zoom. I assure you, I've got some great information. You're going to want to grab a pen and paper. And if you don't have all of your people on the team right now, if you know folks that aren't here or that don't know that I have this every Monday, maybe they're not on my team link that I send out text messages, then send a text to them and say, hey, you need to get on this Zoom, because we're going to go through some great information that's going to impact your business, which in turn will impact business owners and your income. So let's get into it. I've got a lot to cover. I'm going to get my screen share started here. And Harlequin, let's see. Can you see that top producers?
You're good.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much. Well, let's get into it. All right. Every week I do this to cover our top producers for the week. And we talk about our top producers as far as recruiting goes. We do have some testimonials from week to week on what's happening in the funding world and some success stories there. But I like to go through the top recruiters because this is the lifeblood of our business, being able to expand and grow and be able to build an agent network across the country. And doing that is the key to our marketing success. DAC and our network marketing model, as Harlequin referred to in my experience, all it is a means of marketing. And instead of paying top dollar to television and radio ads, we do word of mouth marketing through independent agents like yourself and I. I am an independent agent. I am not on the payroll. I only get paid if you guys are successful. So understand, I am here as part of this volunteer army that we have taken this message to market. So let's get into the top recruiters. And for this is going to be for the week of February 4th through March the 2nd. Again, in first place, we had Katina Willis with 13 new recruits for the week. In second place, her enroller, Eric Johnson, with 4 new recruits. In third place, we had a 4-way tie with Eugene Clapp, Michael Edmondson, Michael Green, and John Nevada, each having 3 new agents for the week. In fourth place, we had a 6-way tie. If you note at the bottom of the screen, if the name is highlighted in green, this means this is their first time on the leaderboard. So congratulations, Gina Bordeaux, Quentin Eidelberg, Denitra Jackson, Earl Jones Jr., Ellen Winn, that's me. I operate under Prime Choice Partners LLC, and Chris Bartalis. Each of us had 2 new agent recruits for that week. All right, and on the right side of the leaderboard, with 1 new agent recruit apiece, we had Natalie Brookshire, Brittany Chapman, Darlena Klingler, Paula Denoncourt, Dr. Lynn Gardner-Kyler, Teresa Humphrey, LaBon Johnson, Stephanie Johnson, Melinda Kiesler, Anthony Kentz, Del Mitchell, John Noriega, Norman Prophet, Anna Springer, KD Sprinkle, Angel Thomas, Pam Warnock, Aliqua Washington, George Richard Welch, and Tracy Wiggs, each with 1 new agent enrolled for the week. So congratulations to all of you that made either side of the leaderboard. If your name's not on the leaderboard, but you're having conversations about the agent opportunity, congratulations. It's just a matter of time before you get this information in front of the right person that sees the opportunity here with DAC. They see it and they seize the opportunity, right? All right. So that's what I have on the leaderboard. Remember, if you are not engaged according to the compensation plan, which engaged means that you have had a new or a renewal funding client in the past 60 days, you're either new and are still within your 60 days as a new agent from the date you signed up, you have 6 customer finance clients. Those are the 3 ways according to the compensation plan. But David announced today that a new LOC, line of credit client, no matter what amount of money they draw down on their first draw, they're not considered active until they take at least $1,000 draw. But a new LOC client is going to also have you considered as engaged. You would not be amped up with that new line of credit client until you hit that 20,000 in drawdowns that they take. But a new LOC client will consider you as engaged. So whether you're engaged or not, according to the comp plan, or have a new LOC client, then we have a way for you to continue getting paid on new agents that you recruit. And that is our auto engaged promotion. It's good on any new agents that you recruit through the end of March, as long as they get a funding in their first 30 days. Whether you're engaged according to the comp plan or not, if they're new and sign up during the month of March and get a funding within their first 30 days, then you will earn your enroller bonus and be considered engaged with this promotion. So there's no reason for you to not be promoting and recruiting new agents right now, okay? All right, the next thing I want to do is testimonial of the week. We've had some great success stories going with this new line of credit. It has created a lot of energy in the field and a lot of excitement, multiple excitement. Last week, I had Harlequin talk about what was happening. She had some meetings there with a couple of local business meeting chapters with the Greater Atlanta Home Builders Association and a business association. She told you what happened last week. Well, today we talked, and she told me some more stories from that same meeting and some of the conversations that she had. So I think that is such a valuable point to make that I'm going to have her speak again. And Harlequin, if you will, just share again, with what you shared with me today about how you had another meeting and another referral through your bank partnership there. It's just really, really good stuff. So those of you that are professionals and already have a business to business clientele out there, take some notes on what Harlequin's going to share with us, because she's out there getting after it. People love this line of credit offering that we have. And it's just a great time for you to take advantage of reaching back out to people that you may have already contacted before and saying, hey, I just want to make sure that you know that we have a new product with a line of credit, unsecured line of credit. So I'm going to take us off the share for a minute so you can talk face to face on camera, Harlequin, and share your success story.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I am just like bouncing off the walls because that referral that I got last week from a physical therapy company, they got funded on Friday and I got paid today. So that's waking up Monday morning to getting an email from David Rutt saying, congratulations, you've earned a commission. That's a great way to start off a week. But good news is that with that particular client, they have 3 other locations that they have told Wade that they want to get lines of credit for. They're all separate individual companies. So that one referral is now potentially going to be 4 lines of credit for me. I ended up this morning, that same person called me with another referral. And what you don't know, Ellen, is he emailed me this evening with yet a 3rd one.
Oh,
so, and then that contact I got from a business expo. That particular contact, it's a new bank. They only have 1 location and they don't offer lines of credit that are not secured, which a lot of banks don't. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I would not recommend going to larger banks. And if you have not watched the training and you don't know exactly what you're talking about, don't go talking to them until you know what you're saying, because you only get 1 shot at introducing this to them. And if you blow it and they think that you don't know what you're talking about, they will never send you a referral. But from that same business expo where I met that banker, I also ran into somebody who I had known from networking previously. He runs a networking group for commercial construction people. And I got a phone call from somebody that he referred today to me as well. So today I received 3 referrals and got funded on a 4th one. So anyways, I would highly recommend get out there, do your networking with business owners and connectors is a big thing.
Great job. Congratulations, Harlequin. I'm super excited for you and excited for those of you on the team that are hearing this tonight, because that just shows the power of this new product, right? Not only are business owners interested in it, but when you have professionals that are actively making referrals to it, you should know that we have something very unique and something very special. So don't be afraid to share this new line of credit. It is a great product to lead with. All right. So tonight, the topics of conversation are going to be our new app sequence. David rolled it out on Friday. He talked about it again today, and I decided to put together a slideshow. We have so many new people and so many existing agents that really are missing the point on some of the things on our marketing. So I'm going to take you through a unique slide sequence to really cover that app sequence for you in detail and talk about why it is such a big deal, that app sequence, and how to maximize your efforts and your income with this new app sequence. So first, urgent update. We have 100% online application process now. When you guys started with DAC, they sent you the Bank Breezy app or Bank Breezy link and told you to lead with Bank Breezy. And that has been the product that we've been marketing since we launched it in May of last year. Reason we were leading with that is because a lot of people applying to David Allen Capital for the larger funding. Just so you know, if you're new, Bank Breezy is for that business owner that's doing between $5,000 and $15,000 a month. David Allen Capital had been marketing at $25,000 as the minimum and above. And if you have been on my team Zoom for several months now, I've been telling every one of you that if the business is doing $15,000 a month or more, you need to be sending it through David Allen Capital. Well, DAC and our corporate team has just started following that promotion process and saying, let's send them if they're doing 15 a month or more to David Allen Capital. But now we have a system in place that does it automatically. And that's what this new app sequence is. So we were directing people to Bank Breezy instead of David Allen Capital because honestly, the majority of applicants that we got, especially if it was cold marketing, they did not qualify for David Allen Capital because they didn't have at least $15,000 in monthly revenue. So instead of putting what used to be a very labor intensive process in place, having our internal team, having a client fill out a paper application and our team having to chase them down to get that paperwork, we use the Bank Breezy application because it's 100% online. They do fill out the information, they get an instant offer. If they like the offer, they move on through, accept that, and then link their bank accounts. And then after they link their bank accounts, then they're either accepted or declined. They get a firm offer and they move on through, do everything online, get qualified, get funded up to the same day, as soon as same day, if that application goes in before noon on Eastern time. Well, we've been watching that process and see the number of apps that are coming through. And David and our team at corporate have worked really hard to put systems in place to make sure that we could do that 100% online application. With some of our lenders, they didn't want to accept it, but DAC has gone to great lengths and great expense getting insurance and all of the security tools and insurance tools in the background that some of the larger lenders in this space. He specifically talked about On Deck today. Most everybody has heard of On Deck lending. It is Chase Bank's preferred partner now. Okay, they are one of our lenders and they are accepting this application that we have, as well as everyone else that we work with. So I'm really excited that we have that. But what I want to take you through is a quick overview of what David rolled out on Friday as a reminder, and then I'm going to show you some screenshots on the sequence here. I'm going to show you an email that I received today showing you exactly what the email looks like when you get that notice. And then we're going to do some Q&A at the end. But again, I want to go through this because I got several slides to show you. So this is a screenshot of David doing the video. Okay. So basically, when someone goes to your David Allen Capital site and they click on line of credit or they click on the business funding page of your website, it's going to funnel them, both clients are going to funnel into a one-page application that is online. It is the same application that we used to have to email in paper application form. So if you've not heard this update, we're no longer emailing that one-page application. They no longer have to fill that out, print it in. It's all on this online sequence, okay? Once they fill out that application, there are going to be some questions that are going to either divert them over to Bank Breezy or divert them over to our business capital funding. And that the diverting question is, out of your last 3 months, what was the lowest revenue of the past 3 months? And if it was under 15,000, then they're going to get sent over to Bank Breezy. If it was 15,000 or more, they'll go through the David Allen Capital process. And then that sequence update will get sent to you based on the PDF that's in the Agent Resource Center. I haven't checked, Harlequin. Can you go over and look at the Agent Resource Center and just check that PDF to see if they have the updated version yet? I know David said he was working on it and hope to have it posted today. If you can look at that, we'll get an answer to you guys here before we finish up. But that's the basis of how this application works. Once someone starts that online application from your David Allen Capital site, you're immediately going to receive an email. And that subject line of the email is going to say DAC LOC for line of credit app started, or it'll say DAC funding app started. I'm very blessed that I have received each of these emails. In fact, I received 3 of these emails from Saturday till this morning, where someone started the line of credit or a funding application. So this is directly from my email. As you can see here, I'm going to read through it because I think what's in here is very important, and you need to make sure that when you receive one of these, you read through and understand, have an understanding of what your steps are with the client, if any at all. Okay. So it says, hello and congratulations, DAC Business Services. That's me, dash Ellen Nguyen. That's what I have on my website. Okay. A prospective DAC funding client has just completed the first page of the business funding application form. All right, that online application. They stated their average monthly revenue range was $25,000 to $50,000. And their lowest month in the last 3 months was 25,000. So this lowest month number here in bold is the number that's going to impact what happens next. And there's an explanation here in the email explaining what happens based on what they say their lowest month was. So if their lowest month was less than $5,000, they will automatically receive a sorry, you do not qualify for funding at this time statement on their screen. It's going to pop up. And they will also be encouraged to try back after they are doing at least 5,000 per month in revenue. So less than 5,000, they'll get that on screen. Sorry, you do not qualify for funding at this time. Okay. The second explanation of what their lowest month revenue is, if their lowest month revenue was between 5,000 and 15,000, as I just stated, that's what is the requirement for Bank Breezy, then they're going to be forwarded automatically to the Bank Breezy application page to continue their application with them. And once they go through, if they start through Bank Breezy, how do you know? You go look to see what the lowest month listed was. It's going to automatically fund them. 25,000 is over that 15,000, so it's going to be the next step. But if they go through Bank Breezy, then you're not going to get updated other than through the app sequence on Bank Breezy. And again, you'll go look at that PDF that Harlequin is checking on. Okay. And if their lowest month was greater than 15,000, which mine was in this particular example, it says their lowest month was 25,000. If it's over 15,000, then you will continue to receive emails from David Allen Capital. You'll get another email when they have completed the next page and use our online signature feature, completing their application. So with this one, I received it, and within a couple of hours, I received another email that said application completed. That meant that all of the documents that go with that online application means they uploaded their 3 months bank statements, they uploaded a voided check, and they uploaded a copy of their driver's license. That is what is considered a completed package. Now that completed package can be sent out to all of our lenders to look at it and make an offer on it. Okay. If you don't receive that second email, and this is listed here in the message, it says if you don't receive the second email later, same day, giving them time to continue their application and upload with DAC or Bank Breezy, we suggest you reach out to them and remind them to continue where they left off. That means for you to reach out to the client and introduce yourself. If you don't know them personally, then you want to reach out. If this were a cold market client, which one of the applications that I received today was cold market, so I would reach out like this. I would say, let's say their name is James. Okay. I'd say, hey, James, this is Ellen Winn with David Allen Capital. You came through our website and applied for business funding earlier today. Congratulations. I see you're in process here. I did not receive an update that you had completed sending in the required documents. Are you getting those together? And ask that question, but I'm just introducing myself and then asking a question, and then I wait and listen, and whatever they say, then I know what my response is. If you're new and you're afraid to call a client, get me or get one of your team leaders on the phone with you on a 3-way call. We'll be happy to talk to that client, because chances are they could ask you some questions that you might not know how to answer, right? But if you've got an experienced person on the phone when you're reaching out to that client, then you'll be able to handle those calls. Now, as David spoke today, he said we're only going to get, or what I was receiving earlier was only the name and email of the client. And I asked the question on the agent Zoom of would we be getting the phone number. He talked about privacy concerns, but then he later sent me a message, David did, and he said, hey, I've added the phone number, because with the DAC updates, we have always received the client's name, email, and phone number. So he has given us the phone number here on this. This one-page application is almost as a lead capture form. You know, a lot of web pages, you have to go in and put your information in before you can move on through. And our one-page application really catches that lead's information now. But you need to make sure that you're using that information correctly. If you are working with other funding companies, it's not yours to take that lead from David Allen Capital and say, hey, I want to funnel them over here. Don't be one of those, as David called today, bad actors that not only puts your client in a worse situation, but also puts David Allen Capital in a bad light. David Allen Capital is going to take all of the funding clients that we receive, and we're going to shop them out to all of the top lenders in the space. So they are going to get a guaranteed best offer by going through us first. I talked about this a few weeks ago. If you're working with other lending companies, wait and let DAC get their absolute best offer. And if the client doesn't like that offer, then go take them out to another lender. But don't take them out to other lenders while they're in process with DAC, because it could spoil the pudding, so to speak. We had a few weeks ago, we had 2 offers on the table for clients, and at the last minute, the lender pulled that offer and retracted it because they saw applications going in at other lenders through the lending network, and they were afraid those clients were trying to stack loans. So when you're sending out packages to multiple lenders, you're doing more harm than good. Okay. So anyway, this is the email. Just make sure that you read the email when you start receiving these. One of the things I'm excited about with this email and the application process is it really lets you know that your marketing efforts are starting to work, right? So we did that when we first launched Bank Breezy. We were getting an app started every time somebody started filling out the first page of the application. And it really created a lot of support questions to the team saying, okay, well, what happened? I got app started and nothing else. So if you just read the email, it tells you what the next steps are. So please go through the training and please read the emails, because if you don't, and if this creates a backlog of support questions, then this process could be pulled back. But I'm loving being able to see applications started so that I know my marketing efforts are working and knowing that I have somebody in process. Now, this automated app sequence is currently active only on the business capital and line of credit page on your DAC website. I asked the question today, will it be added to Bank Breezy and the 25K today page of our DAC site? And David said it will be in the future, but a lot of people are marketing with the terms of immediate approval and same day funding, which happen to be the most popular terms on all of the brand awareness marketing that DAC is doing. So those terms work, immediate approval, same day funding, but we've got to tweak the message to the client so that when we add this application to Bank Breezy and the 25K today page, that we're not misleading them, because we do give them a range of what, based on your answers, here's what you potentially qualify for. That range will give them an offer of 75% on the low end to 2 times that on the top end if they qualify for the DAC funding, doing 15,000 or more. If they're only qualified for Bank Breezy and they're only doing 5 to 15,000 their lowest month, then they're going to get an offer of about 75% of their monthly revenue. So back to me saying for months now to send those clients through DAC, it just gives your client an opportunity to get exposed to multiple lenders and also get a higher lending amount. Other good news on this, if you send your client through the DAC business capital tab and the line of credit, that system is going to sift and sort automatically, as I just went through on that application. But here's another key. If they qualify for the larger funding and they go through the 15,000 and above DAC process, then our internal team is automatically going to try to qualify them for a line of credit in addition to the funding. In reverse, if they go in and apply for the line of credit through this application and they qualify for that higher funding amount, 15,000 or more, we're also going to not only try to approve them for line of credit, but our internal team is also going to see if they can get a funding offer at the same time. So you're getting a double bang for your marketing efforts here by using these two. Now, let me say this. I said, let's make sure that you're maximizing your efforts. If you lead with Bank Breezy, they're only going to go to Biddy. Okay. So Bank Breezy, what is that? Well, this page to the left here is bankbreezy.com. That's the domain that you get in your welcome letter from David Allen Capital. It's the product that we've been leading with, right? We also have that same product available on davidallencapital.com. If you've been listening to me, I always say if I'm leading with Bank Breezy, I use this tab of my David Allen Capital domain versus Bank Breezy. Why? Because the David Allen Capital version of Bank Breezy has the DAC branding, and I brand myself as a DAC agency owner. So DAC is not branded on the bankbreezy.com website, but I've been using this. I'm switching all of my domains that redirect, even on my drop cards, my funding domains that are on the Bank Breezy. I've got to go to redirect that Bank Breezy, get up to 25K today. I'm going to redirect that over to my David Allen Capital funding so that that one-page application can automatically sift and sort for me. Because here's the thing, if you are only sending your clients to Bank Breezy and they want like $30,000, for them to get $30,000, they've got to be doing $40,000 in monthly revenue. Right? But if they're doing $40,000 in monthly revenue and would qualify for $30,000 through Bank Breezy, which is 75% of their revenue, if they're actually doing $40,000 over on the DAC funding side, they might qualify for up to $80,000. Which one do you think is going to help that business owner more? $30,000 offer or an $80,000 offer, depending on what they're doing. And which one of those offers is going to put more money in your pocket as a referral agent? $30,000 funding or an $80,000 funding. Okay. So that's why I'm moving everything, all of my domains. I'm going to point them to the business capital funding on the DAC site so that that system will automatically sift and sort. All right. So that's my tip to you on maximizing this. So up at the top, if you're new, my lead here is if you lead with Bank Breezy, they only go to Biddy. What is Biddy? All right, Biddy is the application page. If you go through bankbreezy.com and click on Get Funded Now on either one of these domains, the application link they're going to see is Biddy Advance. Biddy Advance is our partner for this $5,000 to $15,000 product, but it's co-branded with Bank Breezy. And this product, Bank Breezy, was created specifically for David Allen Capital. Okay. All right, so let's talk about these two, and I want to go through some important information. I hear this question from experienced agents and new agents. So again, if you don't have a pen and paper out right now, I encourage you to grab one because you're going to want to write down what I'm showing you, okay? So this is our main davidallencapital.com website. This business capital page of the site and the line of credit page of the site. I see it over and over again. Agents are saying, well, how do I find that? I can't find my line of credit. Is there a specific link that goes there? Well, let's start with the basics, okay? The basics is understanding our website link function. So here we go. We're at davidallencapital.com, and I have an example showing my agent ID number. And when I typed this into the browser, I just did davidallencapital.com/my ID number. But when I hit enter, and the page loaded on the browser, it added in some additional characters here after the /. So when you go to that / your ID number, understand you should not include those extra characters when sharing your link. So even though the link on the browser shows this, right, you want to eliminate this out of the equation. So do not copy the question mark ref code equal. You just want it to be clean / your ID number. Why? Agents tell me all the time, well, my link works fine if I leave that in there. Okay, it may, depending on the browser that is opening your link, okay? And in the background, our IT team is constantly working on our links to make sure that they work with all different browsers. So you may have it working on a particular browser, but you also may be missing business that you don't know about because you sent your link out incorrectly. So understand, if you leave that in there, the chances of your website not working correctly are very high. And again, you may be missing opportunities to have a client coming through your website. All right. So when the website is opened and all of this populates, adding that ref code there, your DAC link is going to drop cookies on your browser. Okay. If any website you go to today, because of internet laws, it'll have a little disclaimer down in the bottom saying this website uses cookies, where you have to accept that, right? Not any, but most websites are doing that. Well, our websites drop cookies. Cookies are bits of data that remain on your browser to remember your link for future visits, as well as any page of your website that you visit. Now, if I go to davidallencapital.com / my ID number, and I click around on any page on here, it's going to keep my name at the top of the page. And if I close that browser out and I come back at a later time, as long as I haven't cleared the cache and cookies on my browser, if I just type in davidallencapital.com, it's going to come back to my page because those cookies or bits of data were dropped on my browser saying, David Allen Capital, oh, this link belongs to this agent ID 102.162.439. So as long as you visit DAC on your browser, now I'm going to emphasize the word your. If you're on your browser, the cookies will remember your ID and will show your information in the referred by section at the top of the page when you're viewing your website on your browser from a desktop or a laptop. If you are on a mobile device, you will not see your information at the top of the page. But to be sure that you're on your page, all you need to do is click on the Get Approved or Apply Now button on your page, and it'll take you over. And if your agent ID was embedded in the link that you shared, then it'll automatically have your agent ID and your name on the application page when someone clicks on it. So don't make this big mistake. And this is really critical. I have a video in my training series encouraging people to watch it. And I know from conversations that I have that people just don't watch the training. So hopefully this training tonight is getting through to you and new people on your team, the importance of understanding this piece. So remember when I said your DAC link drops cookies on your site, and that remembers your link for future visits as well as any page that you visit on your website, as long as you're on your browser, right? This is how this works. Don't be fooled, okay? And this is, most agents get fooled with this and don't understand how the cookies work. Just because your name is showing at the top of all the pages on your browser doesn't mean you have the right link to share. Those links are showing up because of the cookies on your browser. So don't make this mistake. So here we go. Let's talk about using the correct link. Again, I've got the example of davidallencapital.com / my ID number, which added all of these extra characters, right? This is the overview page of David Allen Capital. Again, you want to make sure you're not using those extra characters. You just want to use davidallencapital.com / your ID number. Okay. So let's take a look at our business funding page, which is the first page that I'm sending people to on this new one-page application sequence. How do I know I'm there? Well, I've got this little green underline under business capital, and it has turned green here because I'm on the main page, and I go from being on the overview page where I just was right here. I'm on the overview page, right? When I click on business capital, it highlights it and it takes me to a different landing page. And it also changes what is shown in the address bar. So now it says davidallencapital.com/business-capital/. It still has my name and contact information at the top of the page, right? But if I were to copy that link that is in the browser, notice my agent ID number is not there. So if I were to just copy this link and send it out to someone else without my agent ID number, they're not going to have my page. Remember, the agent ID number is where the cookies are held. And those cookies are on my browser because I opened my web link with my agent ID number on my browser. But once it leaves my browser and goes to someone else's browser, if I don't have the agent ID number, I'm not sending those cookies to that next person. So again, do not be fooled. Don't copy the link. You always need to add your agent ID number to the end of the link, just like this. It'd be David Allen Capital / your ID number at the end. That would be how you would correctly send out this business capital link of your website. Okay. Now let's look at the line of credit page. Same thing. When I click on line of credit page, it opens up a new link in my browser. My name is still at the top of the page because of cookies. But if I'm going to send this out to someone else, don't be fooled. Again, I need to add my agent ID number to the end of that link before sending it out, and it leaves my computer going to someone else. All right. Now, those links work the same on every page of our website. So this is the 25K Today tab that I was just talking about. If I were going to lead with that, which I'm not until he has that one page that will do the fork in the road and determine whether they need to continue on through Bank Breezy or whether they're qualified for the higher funding. I'm not going to lead with this until that application sequence is live on this particular product. But if I were sending it out, I would have what's shown up in the browser there, davidallencapital.com /25-today / add my ID number before I send it out, right? So same thing with customer financing. Click on that tab of your page and it opens up that new link. Add your agent ID number to the end. So essentially you have a product page for everything that you market, and you can send out that one page as what you lead with, but just make sure you add your agent ID number to the end. Here's an example on the payment processing. Add it to the end of that longer link and copy and send that entire link out to your prospect. Okay, so I think that is the end of my slideshows. I'm going to take that down and give you an opportunity to ask questions. Again, I'm super excited about this new app sequence and really excited today to be seeing those emails coming back into my inbox saying that I have an application started. And I know from what happened when we launched Bank Breezy, that created a frenzy in the field because agents were seeing people were actually applying, right? And getting a good feel for how many people were needing funding in the small business space. So if you're out there promoting our services, then you're also going to start seeing some of those application started emails. And whether you get one that's been funded or not, it's exciting to see that someone is in process. I caution you, don't get hung up on it and say, oh, okay, I've got one, and keep waiting and hoping that that one's going to get across the finish line. You need to take whatever you did to get that application started, wherever you were marketing, wherever you were posting, or the group that you were talking amongst, like Harlequin shared her story, and do more of it. Don't wait on that one and hope, keep with fingers crossed that it's going to get across the finish line. You need dozens of those coming through on a regular basis for you to start seeing the fruits of your labor come to fruition in the process. Okay. All right. So I'm going to see if anybody's got any questions on what we just covered. If I missed anything, please feel free to bring that to my attention, Harlequin. Were you able to check that PDF to see if it was updated yet?
Now let me just double check and make sure that I understood what you were looking for. It's the PDF on the loan, the paper funding application?
No, the number one under the business capital on the Agent
Gotcha.
Resource Center, the quick reference guide, page 2 of it shows the notification sequences for Bank Breezy and for David Allen Capital. And they were going to update that so that we had an accurate update sequence.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they have yet because it's
Okay.
still showing older dates.
Yep. No big deal. I know that the one that's posted in the Agent Resource Center had like July on it as the date
Yeah.
that it was posted, but it was actually updated in February. He just didn't change the date on what was visible there in the Agent Resource Center. So any questions? Do we have anybody with their hand up? I do. I see
Yeah, I
Stephanie.
do.
All right, Stephanie, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself.
Yes. Hi,
What are you
Ellen.
doing?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I just have one quick question. As soon as they make the new 25K today application more, put it in that funnel, will you text us as soon as that's available so we can redirect our links?
Yeah, I will let you know, and David will let us know, and I'll send it out too, because I think that's a great lead, because that's really where the majority of our applicants are coming from, or some of those that are doing less than 15. But I don't want to miss those. I don't want to miss the small ones, and I don't want to miss the larger ones either on what we're doing. So I'm leading with that business funding capital. But yes, ma'am, we will definitely update you the minute that goes live.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question, and thank you for the question. All right, I'm going to ask Randy to unmute. Can you unmute yourself, Randy? Looks like you're unmuted now. I'm not hearing you. How are you doing? I'm not hearing you. You're still muted. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you. Maybe you have the volume turned up on your mic. Still not hearing you. Still not hearing you. Okay, Randy, while you're figuring out what's going on with your mic there, I'm going to go to Thomas, and then we'll come back to you, Randy, okay? All right, Thomas, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing tonight?
Doing okay. I just got one
Good.
quick question.
Okay.
The PDF file be printed out?
Absolutely. That PDF makes it an easy print item. Are you referring to the PDF that I had Harlequin looking for?
No, just the PDF sets we have David Allen Capital has on file to use to copy and paste, or I just was seeing if it could be printed out onto like the Avery business cards file or stock.
Yeah, sure. You can take anything that's in the PDF images. You can use that to print and recreate a flyer, or you can use those images, excuse me, as part of a flyer. If you change it and take what they have already pre-approved and try to write your own flyer, then you need to go through the approval process with our support team. But if you take it as is, then it's good to go. You can download it, or you can send it to a printer where they have the actual PDF image and can print from there. Excuse me. All right.
All right.
Harlequin, I'm gonna need to go get another glass of water. If you can see if you can unmute Randy and get that question started while I do that real quick, okay? Thank you, Thomas.
Sure, not a problem, Ellen. Okay, so Randy, I think what your challenge is the microphone on your computer is muted. So I've asked you to unmute. So if you can, yeah, I can't hear you. So your microphone on, not on the Zoom, but your microphone on your computer itself. is not turned on.
Oh, much better. Thank you. One other thing that might be, Randy, is if you go to the mute section of your Zoom, it allows you to select a microphone. You may have the wrong microphone selected. So if you'll hit that little up arrow on the mute or the microphone button on your Zoom and make sure you have the correct microphone selected. Still no luck there. Well, let's see if we have anything in the chat that we need to address. Harlequin, have you seen questions there?
Yeah, I don't think that I have. There was one question in there. Cindy Church had asked if they could, on the DAC funding and the LOC, if it was an either or. And I responded that it is both. Your client, because the client that I had funded on Friday that I got paid on today, they were given an offer for a $49,000 line of credit. And they were also given a $59,000 working capital offer. And they could have taken both of them if they wanted to. They chose to do the line of credit. So it just depends upon what their situation is and how much they're needing.
Right. And it's not always going to be offer for both. Sometimes it's an either or. Wade mentioned today that he had a client that had one amount for an LOC and one amount for a funding, and he offered both of them to the client and asked them which one did they want. So sometimes they ended up taking the funding because it was larger than the line of credit and they needed additional funding at that time. Good question. All right, Randy, did you figure out the unmute there? I'm going to ask you to unmute again, see if you figured out your microphone. Still not working for you? All right, I've got Cherry's hand up. I'm going to ask you to unmute, Cherry. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
How about you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Hi, everyone. I have one simple couple of questions. David had said that if the client enters the website manually, that we would not get updates. Is this still the case?
It
or
is.
If it is, do you suggest that we do not put our websites on our drop cards?
Well, what he's referring to is if they enter it manually, and they don't have your agent ID number in the link, that's where the update sequence. And Harlequin, if you can help answer this again, my throat is just not cooperating. I'm barely talk. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. No, what he was referring to is if you send them the link with your agent ID number in there, what will happen is it will automatically populate your name and your agent ID number in the application. If for whatever reason they don't do that, say they just type in davidallencapital.com and then they don't put your agent ID number in there or on the link on the website, and they manually enter it in on the application, that is when you will not get a notification.
Okay, if they enter your ID number manually, is that it?
Yeah, if they manually enter it in on the actual application, but if they enter your ID in on whenever they type in the web address, they do davidallencapital.com / and your ID number, that automatically populates it in the application. So they don't have to worry about it.
Okay, thanks.
And that's if you want to do it.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, Harlequin. And thank you, Cherry, for the question. So back to, should we put our website on the card? This is why I preach to always use a domain name, right? Because if you're just putting davidallencapital.com and including your agent ID number without it being, for example, I have dacfundingoptions.com is one of my domains that I have on one of my drop cards. And I'm not giving them the option to go to davidallencapital.com to have to enter in my ID number. So the power of that domain is I already have DAC funding options directed to the website that I want them to go to.
Gotcha.
And I'm not leaving it to chance that they're going to add my agent ID number after the / at the end, which would then in turn force them to have to manually type in my information. The
Gotcha.
domain will fix that issue 100%.
I got you, because they can even enter the ID number incorrectly and someone would get that. Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So the
I got you.
domain always fixes it. Just remember when I was showing you the slides earlier of leaving
Right.
out the question mark ref code equal, I
Mhm.
still see agents that leave all of that in on their redirects on their domains, so they don't always work 100%. One other tip for you on domains that will prevent it from working properly. When you're setting up a redirect on your domain, there's a little box that you have to manually check to mask a domain. What is masking? Well, masking means that it is masking the name of the website that your domain points to. So my dacfundingoptions.com, if I selected to mask it, when they clicked on it and it opened up the David Allen Capital page that I have it pointing to or redirecting to, if I masked that, it would not now show davidallencapital.com /102.162.439. It would keep my dacfundingoptions.com in the browser, right? That's what masking is. It
Okay.
keeps the domain name in the browser so the person doesn't see the website that it was redirected to.
Okay.
However, if you use masking, your cookies will not work properly and your DAC site will not work properly. So thought that was an appropriate time to say that. So if you're using domain names, make sure you do not have it masked, because your agent ID and cookies will not work correctly at all.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Sherry. Appreciate your
Sure.
question.
Sure. Thanks.
All right. Randy, did you get your mic working? No, you're going to have to start typing in the chat to ask your question, looks like. I'm so sorry about that.
As, and he's unmuted on this side, but he's not, we still can't hear him.
Right.
He said, I've been typing in text, davidallencapital.com / and then 102.586.925. Is that sufficient?
Yes. Yes, just / your ID. You can send them directly to the main page, which is our overview. And I lead with that sometimes because I like that it shows everything that we do. And the message is still about when your bank can't help, we can. I like that page. So it really just depends on who you're talking to and what the message is that you're trying to get out to that client. So you can do the main page, davidallencapital.com / your ID, or you can send them to the specific page of the website that you want them to go to. I tend to use those particular pages if I am handing out a drop card that speaks of a particular product, or if I've had a phone conversation with someone. And if you've heard me before, when I get an inbound call with a client, I start asking them questions so that I can determine which product they qualify for. You know, I'll ask them, hey, how long have you been in business? How much monthly revenue are you doing? Are you set up with an EIN number operating as an LLC, or are you as a sole proprietor with your social security number? And are you operating through a business checking account, right? I ask those basic questions so that I know which direction to point the client. And if they're suited for Bank Breezy only, then I'm going to send them to my 25K Today tab of my website / my ID number, so that they don't have to sort through the website to try to figure out where they need to go. So I like having the option to do both. But yes, that's a great question, Randy, and one that many new agents are probably struggling with as to where to send that client. Okay. All right. I'm going to lower your hand for now. If you get your mic working or you have another question, then you can certainly come back. Eric Brooks, I'm going to ask you to unmute. What do you have for us tonight, Eric?
Hey, Ellen, how's it going?
Going good. Good to see you.
Likewise. Just wanted to mention, say congratulations to Harlequin. That's awesome. The trifecta that you got going. Hopefully I can get one of those one day. But yeah, that's very amazing. And I want to say congratulations to you, and I hope everything works out for the best. Also, Ellen, I just wanted to mention, I did get a decline today from a client for an LOC for a line of credit. But the email that I got said that they couldn't disclose like the reason why they were declined because of privacy issues. Do you know what that means? Or 'cause that's something new that I've never seen before.
I do, yeah. So anytime a client gets declined, our notification is going to let you know as an agent what that process is, that they're either moving forward and getting funded or they were declined and not eligible. Typically, if you get a declined like that, it was something on they may have done a hard credit pull, which, by the way, sometimes we will for larger fundings. If they ever do a hard credit pull, they will always, always, always let your client know before they do a hard credit pull. It could be, it's most likely something in a background check, though, that's going to cause that undisclosed thing where it could be criminal charges. We had somebody apply that I found out quietly that the person had just gotten out of jail, had been in jail for felony charges. So lenders are not going to lend to someone that has a criminal record or something immoral that's showing up on their background check and so on. So that's probably what it was. Something came up on their background check that the lender's just not comfortable with.
Oh, okay. All right. That's all I had. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. Thanks for the question. All right. And we have
Ellen?
Goswell.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Eric, if you can take a look and see where in the app sequence you got the email saying that they had been declined, because sometimes you'll get it right after they've linked their bank account on Bank Breezy. It's usually because they didn't qualify for revenue, but there are certain points along the way you can kind of tell what the previous step had been or where they were in that process to figure out where they fell out.
Yeah, that wouldn't apply on this one because this was the line of credit that Eric was referring to. But yeah, good point on the Bank Breezy app sequence. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, they actually applied on Friday, and I guess they went through the whole process, and then that's when I got the email, because they when I got that new email that you were talking about earlier in the training, as far as like if they made over a certain amount and everything, they qualified for everything for the line of credit, based on the minimum parameters. So then it came back today that they were declined. So then when you explained to me that it might be something with a background check or something like that, that makes a lot more sense, because based on the qualifications, it seemed like they met it. Now, of course, they could still get declined, but it seemed like the process went through way too long. If they were like initially they didn't fit, then they would have got declined immediately right away. And they actually went through the full process and then got declined today. So that makes sense. Like I said, I never saw that type of email before. Especially not that long, with them going through the process.
Well, the good news is that if with you not having seen that type of email before, is that you just hadn't crossed that bridge. So the good news is now you're getting into even more applications coming in, because you typically don't see that until you've had quite a few. And I know you've got several that have been in play for you. So just keep doing what you're doing. You can't, I had a gentleman here in Atlanta reach out to me. He found me on Google, called me, and he found me when we were doing PPP loans. And because we were marketing those at the time, right? DAC was. And he called me, he had questions, and I was just helpful to him. I was answering questions that I knew the answer to, and he was already in process with somebody else, but I was being helpful. And he has kept my number in his file ever since. Was so appreciative of me just being willing to offer help, whether I was getting paid or not, right? So we had multiple phone conversations over several months where he was calling, and when I talked to him, I said, hey, after PPP is over, if you find yourself needing working capital, that's what I do. We're in the small business capital space. We do credit card processing, went through the basics of what we cover for him. I said, so keep my number. And by the way, if you don't have a health insurance plan for your employees, we can help you with that too. And he's like, man, I need to keep your number. And he has called me back many times. He applied for funding, and he seemed like the nicest guy on the phone. He invited me to come see his business when I was in Atlanta. He said, hey, I'm here. Come by and say hey sometime. I'd love to meet you in person. Talked to him on the phone. Like I said, he sounded super nice. And when he applied for funding, found out that he failed a background check. He had a massive criminal record that
Oh, wow.
I got privy to that. They don't divulge that most of the time, but because of
Mhm.
my relationship, I found that out. And I was just blown away when I found out, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought that, right? So
Yeah,
you
right.
never know what's underneath that nice persona that people display. So,
I had another question
okay.
before we move forward. I can't get it out. In response to the Google, putting your information on Google, based on, like, we had a conversation on Thursday or Friday about that. And I actually had some people actually do some reviews for me, but some of the reviews aren't popping up. Do you know how to fix that? Or we can talk offline if that's
Yeah, we can talk offline about that, and I'll take a look at what you got going there and see what needs to be done.
okay.
Okay.
All
Yep.
right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the questions, Eric.
Bye
All
bye.
right, James Doswell, I'm going to ask you to unmute. How are you doing tonight,
Hey,
my
I'm
friend?
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Excellent.
Yeah. I'm over here laughing, okay, because you said this guy had massive, okay, that's like, wow, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, like
Uh,
years. Mhm, mhm.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to add one quick, hello, everybody. I just want to add one quick note to the domain thing. If you're new and you're not familiar with domain names and that, but you want to move forward with that, and you don't really know what to do, the support at most of these places will help you get it forwarded correctly. So you don't have to say, well, I don't want to do all that you guys were talking about, okay, but I don't want to mess it up either. The support at most of them, well, all the ones that I've ever dealt with, they're really supportive. They'll make sure that your forward is right. And like Ellen said, okay, do not do not mask it, because if you mask it, your name will not be on their platform, and just be a real pain in the butt. But just know that the support will help you get it right if you decide to do that. And if I remember correctly, I think, Ellen, you have 2 videos about domains. It's the one that I think is in the email now. And then I think there's another one that you kind of showed the process at, I think it was Namecheap or something. So
Yep.
yeah, so anybody that is interested in going forward and you're not familiar, Ellen's got those 2 videos that you can get from her, to make sure that everything's fine. And unless I miscount, we now have 2 of these Monday trainings where you have gone over, like you did today, making sure that the process that you use to put your number at the end of whatever tab you want to. So there's like 4 places to not mess it up. Okay, that's all I got.
Yeah, thank you, James. Very true. And yes, the Namecheap, I have a training on that, and I also have an affiliate link to Namecheap. You have to be a busy reseller to have an affiliate relationship with them, or you have to prove that you have, or you can be a busy reseller. I don't make a lot of money, but I do a lot of domain support questions. So I put an affiliate link out there. So sometimes I get rewarded for my efforts with that with the team. But you can find my domain training if you go to domains, plural, DOMAINS.work with Ellen.com. It'll take you straight over to my domain training, and on that landing page is a affiliate link there if you want to order one of those domains through my referral there. Okay, thank you, James. I appreciate your comments as always. I'm going to lower your hand. I'll have Sharon Hill up. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Sharon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Ellen. How are y'all?
Good, good.
Great. I want to say to Harlequin, congratulations. And when you went to testifying, I raised my hands up and I went to praying. because I want to receive. I want to be blessed just as well as how you're being blessed. And my question is, Ellen, with the client that I've been communicating with you over the weekend, and thank you so much for reaching back out to me on your days off. I appreciate that. He was approved, he said, for 5,000, but I have not received an email saying that he even opened up the application or he was approved. Is that because he has not sent in his paperwork?
Well, if he was approved for 5,000, was that a Bank Breezy? I can't remember which one.
Yes, it was Bank Breezy.
Okay. Yeah. So in that app sequence, if he was approved, that's just the starting steps after he did the bank linking.
I'm sorry, pre-approved is what he said. The email said pre-approved.
Yeah. So when they start the application process and fill out that first page, they get pre-approved based on what they say their income is or what their revenue is, right? And then after they complete that first page, they move on and fill out a second page, which is more details about their business, their EIN number, linking a website. And let me speak on that website because that tends to be a roadblock sometimes. If the business doesn't have a website or they don't have a social media page that they can list, if they have a LLC, then they can type in their business name, including the LLC. Like I can type in Prime Choice Partners LLC, and it's going to pull up the Secretary of State registration for that here in the state of Georgia. I could copy and paste that link that shows I'm a registered LLC. I could paste that in on the website link there on the application page. So just that side note. But once they've completed that second page with their information and they still have an approval, right? They haven't been denied because they don't meet qualifications. Then they're still in the pre-approval stages until they actually do bank linking. And then once they do bank linking, then they get a firm approval. So it goes from pre-approval to approval amount. Okay.
Gotcha.
So if he's just in the pre-approval stage, it doesn't sound like he's gone through bank linking yet.
Okay. I reached out to him. I made a few messages to him I sent out today, but I haven't received anything yet, any information on how it's going or if he needs any, assistance or what have you. But I said I was going to wait a couple of days, and then if I hadn't heard from him or received an email, I will respond back, to see what's going on.
Yeah. So once he goes through and does the bank linking, that's when you actually get notification from Biddy. Have you received an email that he had?
I have not. No, ma'am, I have not.
So yep, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's where he is in process, because once he does bank linking and he gets that hard approval, then that triggers the email to you saying, congratulations, you've had one start, or an app has been started at Bank Breezy. So he hasn't made it that far to get hard approval. And let me tell you too, I appreciate your comments to Harlequin. I'm so excited for her too. And I wanted her to share that story just for what you just said. Her testimony inspired you, right? And I just think it's tremendous for those of you to hear one success that is blossoming out into many others, right? Potentially. But with you saying that you hope you get those same type of blessings, don't hang on to hope that this one client is going to get funding, because if he's getting pre-approved for 5,000, that means he's lower revenue and he's much higher risk. So unless he moves on through,
I'm working and pushing.
So but open and branch out to many more and have conversations with more, because he's on that very high risk client profile just because of the low revenue. The lower someone's revenue is, the higher risk they are, because if they're only doing $5,000, if he got pre-approved for 5,000, he's probably doing 7,500, but still on that lower end of the spectrum. That smaller revenue business could be out of business in a week just because they are not established to have high enough revenue. Now, not to say that all businesses that are only doing $5,000 or $7,000 a month are going to be out of business. When I started my limousine business, I went through that, but I was doing well going from 5,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 to 15,000 a month because I didn't have a lot of overhead, right?
Uh-huh.
So my business was not in jeopardy of going out of business. It was just a matter of building the client base to get to those higher levels. So again, he's high risk in that low, but doesn't mean that he doesn't have a good business, right?
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you so
okay.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the question. All
You're
right, I'm gonna
welcome.
lower your hand. And I have James. Did we not lower your hand, or do you have another question or comment, James?
Yeah, I got another comment.
Okay.
Okay, on the on that pre-approval, maybe Helen, you could kind of go to the next step, next couple of steps where they have the flexibility. The instant approval, as advertised, is basically the pre-approval that they get bang, bang in like 1 minute or whatever it is. Okay, they get a pre-approval there, but that's all that is. And it says it on there, pre-approval. As they go forward and link their bank and they get the next approval, they have, because I asked David about this and just the way he explained it, they've got the same flexibility that they do over at DAC when they get that second approval, because it's got full disclosure there where they can see actually how much and all the terms and everything is right there on the page for them to see it. And it kind of helps in the front end to know that if you're having a little bit of trouble with somebody, you know, and they're kind of hooing and hawing at the beginning because you're there with the bank breezy and they're like, well, this and that, okay, they can get a number fast, bang, okay. But then if to ease their anxiety or something, you know, it can be said that, you know, you don't have to accept it, okay, but you can see full disclosure, which maybe would nudge them through the bank linking process to where they can see the real numbers and get a yes or no.
Absolutely. And then they also get full disclosure on if there's an early payoff for that 30 or 60-day payoff, then they get to see those numbers too. So not all, but most applicants are going to see 3 different payback options. They're going to see their full payback. The big number at the top is going to be if they kept the money full term. And then at the bottom, they're going to say, if you pay it off in 30 days, or if you pay it off in 60 days, here's what your payments are. Here are the terms. One other question on that, James, thank you for that statement. Brings to mind something else that I'll have agents say, well, they don't like the daily payback options. And I always encourage them to talk back with the lender and say, well, we do have weekly payback options for some businesses. They can always ask for it to be reviewed for weekly. And if they don't qualify for weekly now, then they could get started on daily payback. And after a good track record of making those daily payments on time, the potential for them to get switched over to weekly payments is still there with good payment history. So just a matter of talking through to the client and helping them feel more comfortable. And last week we had an agent, or actually I think it was one of the corporate calls, Brittany was talking about the getting hit with clients that were saying, well, you seem like a scammer or all of this because we're needing their information. Here's the thing. If you're applying online for funding, whether it's a mortgage, a car loan, or business funding, they need information, and they're not going to give out any type of money or any type of loans without getting all the information that they need from the client. So if you're getting that type of response from anyone that is calling on your posts or advertising, and you've got those questions, then I would revise the marketing message or your message to market to kind of narrow down the audience that you're attracting to look at your ads in the first place.
Okay, really quick on that on that same point. There's, if you notice what there were the conversations that we get on these Zooms and on the other Zooms and in the Facebook group. If you pay close attention to it, you can see that there's two types of people that are applying. You have a person that hasn't owned a brick and mortar business or hasn't owned any type of extensive business, so they don't understand how business works. All they're familiar with is what consumers get, scams, fraud, this and that. Okay, a brick and mortar person, a person that's got a business and been out there a year, a couple of years, okay, they've dealt with their bank, they've dealt with phone calls and different things, and they're not afraid to provide the proper information, and they know that, okay, they can kind of feel if you're scamming them or not. The people that are talking scam and you're this and all these things that they're saying, they're just inexperienced people. So you don't have to beat yourself up, and you don't have to fight with them or anything. But just know that when you look at the preferred industry list that we have in the back office,
In the Agent Resource Center.
right? Yeah. If you look at that preferred list, okay, if you are concentrating maybe through Google search, Google Maps, any of these directories, yellow pages, that kind of thing. If you're concentrating with those categories of people, you're not going to get that same type of resistance. And real quick on the yellow pages, if you're using Yelp or any of those things like that, guess what? These people got money, because yellow pages ain't cheap. Okay.
Right.
Or if they got a little line listening, they're paying something, 100 a month or something. If they got a display in there, okay, they're paying $500, $1,000 a month to get that display. So when you contact these people, they got money, they need money, but just know that those are the two types of business owners that we're dealing with. Okay, I'm done.
Amen. Amen. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. All right. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? We have gone a little bit longer than I really like. I like keeping these about an hour, but I know we had good information to cover tonight and great questions. I appreciate the interaction from all of you that had questions or comments tonight. That is really what makes having these team Zooms unique and gives us a platform to share and see and hear from other folks on the team. I want to go back to the introduction there that Harlequin made and explain who she is and how she is in this. Because I get a lot of people that say, okay, I signed up, so-and-so enrolled me. Who are you? Asking me that question, right? As I'm your senior team leader. So when you get started with DAC, you sign up with an enroller, and that enroller may be direct to someone else, who may be direct to someone else, who may be direct to someone else. So you may be 4, 5, or 6 generations in my organization where you've got all of these layers of people in between you and me. What I encourage people to do when they get started is to reach out to their enroller and, create a relationship there. But that enroller may be new and may not know the answers to the questions. But if you keep going up the channels there, hopefully you're going to find that active person between me and you that is going to be able to support you. I have a huge team. I was just looking at numbers, and I have well over 6,000 agents in my organization now. And I'm going to do a recap after we hit my 48-month mark. I'm going to go through and do a summary of how many agents I had in 12 months, how many I had in 24, how many I had in 36, and what it totals on 48, because I like doing that just to inspire you guys on the team building aspect of this. You never know what can happen with the number of agents that come in, and out of the number of agents who come in, who is going to be a real go-getter and really take this and run with it. And maybe they run with it on the recruiting side, maybe not getting customers, but because they run with it on the recruiting side, they find someone that is going to stick and stay long-term on the customer gathering side. So it's a sifting and sorting process, but look to see who your enroller is. Harlequin is someone that I personally enrolled in the business. So when she says that she's one of the team leaders here, she helps me generously with her time on our team Zooms every week, but she has a team of people that she recruited and they recruited and so on and so on. So all of you that are on here tonight are not part of Harlequin's team, although she's very generous with her time and answering questions. So just kind of learning the hierarchy there as far as above me, who is active in the business. As far as I know, there is not an active DAC agent above me in the organization. So even though we're not in David Rutz's organization, there's really not an active person between me and the company, right? So I'm kind of the top of the heap, so to speak, as far as your team leaders go, at experience and knowledge wise, because there's no one that's been here longer than me that is actively doing DAC. I see posts from time to time from my enroller, and I know that my enroller does an auto ship every month so that they're capturing the residual commission off of what our team is doing funding wise, but I still don't think anybody is actively promoting DAC above me in the organization. So thank you guys. That was probably more than you needed to know, but I like having that conversation sometimes so you can kind of see where you are in the food chain, but, and where I am in the food chain, right? All right. So again, I appreciate you all for being here. James, don't get that laugh going, man. You crack me up when you laugh. I love it. All right, Harlequin, anything before we wrap? I've got Kevin just raised his hand. I'm going to ask Kevin to unmute. What do you have for us, Kevin? Can you unmute yourself?
Let me see.
There we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Hey, I just wanted to, hey, I had to laugh and raise my hand. Hey, thank you for, sometimes we have to know, we have a strong lead horse as a team, and you're a strong leader. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you for all that you do, you and Harlequin. And sometimes we need to know that because people get so complacent and thinking it's just normal. No, your extra special leadership makes the difference. So, and people need to know that. So I'm glad you said that. So
Well,
just want to say thank you.
I
Yep.
appreciate that, Kevin, and I'm glad you said that too. I appreciate it very much.
Let me put a cap on that. Praise God for Ellen. Okay.
Amen. Hey, amen to that. That's right. Amen.
All right, I'll send you your bonuses in the mail, okay?
I don't want no check. Okay, send me a money order. Okay, I'll take none of the rubber checks.
You got it. You got it. Thank you, guys. I love
All
y'all
right.
too. I appreciate it very much.
All right.
All right, Harlequin, did you have something there as we were about to wrap up?
Nope, I think that's gonna do it.
All right, awesome. I'll get this out on the replay and on my YouTube channel shortly. So again, thank you guys for being here. I look forward to seeing and hearing many more stories for those of you that are having successes with our new line of credit and our new funnel here. I know there's more to come. There's just more under the surface that's coming with DAC. So don't you even think about getting off onto something else that's going to take your attention away from what we're doing, because you will live to regret it. Okay. All right. Have a great night. We'll see you on the next Zoom. Good night, everyone.